Hi, I'm Tiffany Domino. Welcome to my channel. If you're new here, my website is howtoentrepreneur.org, and my mission is to help you grow a business from idea to enterprise. So if you or someone you know wants to start or grow a business, stop by howtoentrepreneur.org. I have a free course there that will help you to start or grow a business. So you can check out the free course here. So today I want to talk to you about Elon Musk quotes and his biography, his childhood, business, and success. So for some of us, our success will be limited by the size of our thinking. It requires big thinking to conceptualize worldwide solutions like the international movement of money from one currency to another, a private company creating a spaceship, or creating an electric car. So that's why it's paramount to study people who seem to master big thinking like Elon Musk. And there's very few people in the world that can think big like Elon Musk. So this is Elon Musk here. And Elon Musk, his early childhood story. So despite what looks like a life full of success, Elon Musk wasn't always the multi-billionaire we see today. He was born June 21st, 1971 in Pretoria, South Africa, and he was raised as the third child to Errol and May Musk. His father was a South African-born British electromechanical engineer, and his mother was a Canadian-born model and dietitian. In interviews, his parents have said that Elon had early inclinations towards computers and technology. He got his first personal computer at age 9, the Commodore VIC-20, and his interest immediately expanded into the world of computer programming. So despite his growing interest and newfound technological discoveries, a lot of personal challenges were taking place. So at age 10, his parents divorced, and Elon and his siblings stayed with their dad. Errol was reportedly very tough to the point of abuse and would often lecture Elon and his brothers for hours. Added to the toughness of his father, Elon also reported that he's been bullied quite a bit in school. Regarding his childhood, he said, "I had a terrible upbringing. I had a lot of adversity growing up. One thing I worry about with my kids is they don't face enough adversity." Even with the controversy, Elon continued to explore and hone his skills with technology. He began teaching himself computer programming, and at age 12, he built a video game and sold it for $500. So I just want to point out, just from that snippet of his story, how our childhoods do not dictate our future. So he was from, he had a family. They weren't multi-billionaires like he is today, but he was able to still explore some of his interests. Despite the abuse and things that he dealt with, the bullying in school, and all of these challenges that he experienced, he still was able to have a huge, massive success in his adulthood. So here's some more, another video that you can check out. I'll leave a link in the description box below to this article so you can check out the videos, the playlists, and different things I've added into the article. But this is a video on Elon Musk's early childhood that you may want to check out if you're interested in learning more about his childhood. So Elon Musk follows the action and he immigrates. So regarding some early observations he made about where the action was, Elon said, "Whenever I read about cool technology, it'd tend to be in the United States, or more broadly North America. I kind of want it to be where the cutting edge of technology was, and of course within the United States, Silicon Valley is where the heart of things is. Although at the time I didn't know where Silicon Valley was, it sounded like some mythical place." As a result of what he noticed, at age 17, he decided that after graduating from secondary school, he'd leave South Africa and immigrate to the U.S. without his parents' support. He wasn't able to get into the U.S. right away, so in 1989 he moved to Montreal, Canada, with relatives. From there he worked himself up the economic ladder, starting with very low-paying jobs that teetered the brink of poverty. At age 19, he attended Queen's University, where he met his first wife, Justine Musk, who gave birth to their 5 children, Damien, Griffin, Xavier, Saxon, and Kai. Unfortunately, after 8 years, Elon divorced Justine and remarried a Turkish actress, Tulelek Riley, then later divorced her in 2014. So after 2 years of studying in Ontario, Musk was able to relocate to the United States from a scholarship at the University of Pennsylvania. He earned 2 degrees, his Bachelor of Science in Physics and his Bachelor of Science in Economics. By the age of 24, Musk was pursuing a PhD in applied physics from Stanford University. So physics is a good framework for thinking, he'd later say. Boil things down to their fundamental truths and reason up from there, said Musk. So I want to point out some other things that he chose to follow the action. So if you see action taking place, or you see results, you see someone that's doing something you would like to do, or you see an environment that's creating an outcome you want to have, then do like Elon did. Follow the results. It's not always envy. It's not always jealousy. Sometimes that action can be inspiring you to do something bigger than what you thought you could do before. So follow the results. Elon, he followed the results, he followed the action, and he immigrated. He wanted to go to the U.S. because he saw a lot of technology advances, and he didn't just sit on it and say, man, they're having all of that activity over there. He packed his bags, he immigrated, he left, he didn't care about who supported him. He left his parents and everything behind. So follow the action. Now Elon goes into a depression and he ponders life meaning. So though Elon was having amazing successes in his education, he began spiraling into a season of adolescent depression. His depression led him to research heavily in philosophy and religion in an effort to find the meaning of life. He explored these areas until his aha moment came, where he came to the conclusion that the most difficult thing is to come up with the right questions. He wanted to pursue the things that would have the greatest impact on the future of humanity, and he decided to pursue the internet, the transition to renewable energy sources, and space colonization. So as you can see, and I don't know if you've paid attention to the stats, but let me show you. So Elon saw the stats. He saw these type of metrics that show the growth of the internet, how the users are growing, how the total number of websites is growing, how much email is being used, how many new, he saw the growth. And as a result, he decided that this is the direction that humanity is going in. And he decided to tap into a river that was already flowing. And so that's something to also be mindful of when you decide to start or grow a business. You want to tap into a river that's already flowing instead of trying to go against the grain of what's happening. So he decided to pursue the internet. He decided to pursue the transition to renewable energy sources and space colonization. So also, another thing to keep in mind from this section of his biography is that he decided to take the time to explore and find that meaning for himself. And so that's something we all have to do, is that self-evaluation process where we go deep within and decide, what is it that we really feel our purpose is? What do we feel like we can add into this generation, the next generation? What is it that we can do to improve humanity and to rid them of the problems that we see facing us today? So While that may sound like a big, hairy, audacious goal, it's totally possible that you could be a solution to other people and that you can offer something that nobody else has. So definitely explore that meaning for yourself and find out what is it that you can do with the talents, the resources, the inventory that you have, and how can you better benefit the earth. So Elon Musk launches Zip2, his first company. So in 1995, he and his brother Kimball launched an online business called Zip2 with $28,000 of their dad's money, and they raised funds from angel investors. With the internet beginning to evolve into the largest information resource center, newspapers were struggling to figure out how to get into the craze. So Zip2 helped companies like the Chicago Tribune and the New York Times to get in on the internet world. Musk acquired big contracts and created online city guides for newspaper publishers. Even with their success, there was still lots of tension as Elon wanted to be CEO and the board stood firmly against it. So you can see he helped companies like Chicago Tribune and the New York Times to get into the internet. So that was something that's an opportunity that's still available. There's still lots of businesses that aren't online and lots of businesses that don't know how to use the internet effectively to reach customers. So this is still a wide open opportunity. Even with the success, like he was having a lot of tension, and with the dot-com crash looming, the board decided to sell Zip2 to Compaq for $304 million plus $34 million in stock options. So in the sale, Elon received 7% or $22 million. So as you can see, the internet caused a major shift in Elon Musk's experience because he was able to start a business with $28,000, raise more money from angel investors, and then to take that business and to grow it. So this is something you should definitely take into consideration. If you see an opportunity and you see a gap in the market, definitely take it and act on it. So after adversity and a sale, Elon Musk launches company number 2, X.com, later known as PayPal. So as Justine, his first wife, said it, most of his newfound fortune he rolled into his second company, a banking institution, X.com, that later became PayPal. So in fact, $10 million from the sale of Zip2 was carried over into the startup of X.com. So he didn't just go and splurge and buy himself different material possessions or whatever. He didn't just say, I can do whatever I want now because I've got $10 million so I can go and retire. Instead, he decided to roll the money into his next startup because he had a long-term vision in mind. He wanted to make an impact in the world. He wanted to positively affect renewable energy. He wanted to really make an impact in the online world. So he stayed focused. So he rolled $10 million into his second startup business. So 1 year after the X.com startup in 2000, the dot-com crash was fully underway. So if you haven't heard of the dot-com crash, it was basically a time where lots of people were running into the online business and they weren't really using solid business principles when they were doing that. They just were kind of thinking, if I just set up a website, if I just do this, and they were taking shortcuts or not fully establishing the businesses, just investing money, and it kind of crumbled. And it got to the point where a lot of people lost money because the businesses collapsed. They weren't having all of the 7 systems that I recommend. When you take the e-course at How to Entrepreneur, you'll see that there's 7 business systems that I recommend each business to set up and have, and they weren't setting those systems up. So when the dot-com crash happened, it left a lot of people at a loss. So Musk and his team spotted an opportunity to buy a company who was shutting its doors. They decided to purchase Confinity and its money transfer service, PayPal. X.com quickly saw that the money transfer service was the most important element of the company, and they renamed themselves to PayPal in 2001. As in Zip.com or Zip2, there were debates about Musk being in the role of CEO. Eventually, he was removed from the CEO chair over technical arguments, and the board decided to sell. So in 2002, PayPal was sold to eBay for $1.5 billion in stock, and Elon received $165 million for his 11.7% stake in the company. So as you can see, another thing is other companies, there's opportunities not just with you starting a business from scratch, but there's also other businesses out there that might align well that you can acquire or merge with, and that can propel your business to growth as well. So Elon Musk SpaceX launch. Even before PayPal's sale had closed, Elon Musk started to dream up ideas about an experimental greenhouse on Mars called Mars Oasis. He hoped that he could inspire further space exploration. In 2001, Musk flew to Moscow to shop for interconnected ballistic missiles, but after 2 trips and attempted negotiations, the Russian space experts didn't come to an agreement or even take him seriously. As a result, Elon started his own company on his flight back from Russia that would create affordable rockets using vertical integration and the modular approach of software engineering. These ideas resulted in the launch of SpaceX. Elon Musk started SpaceX with an investment of $100 million in 2002, and since they've made several headlines, including Falcon 1, the first private-funded liquid-fueled rocket to put a satellite into the Earth's orbit, being the first commercial company to send its SpaceX Dragon vehicle to dock with the International Space Station in 2012, the first to successfully land the first stage of the Falcon rocket back at the launch pad in 2015, acquiring multiple NASA contracts to develop space vehicles, including one $1.6 billion contract to develop a Falcon 9 launch vehicle in 2009. So as you can see, he's a big thinker, because most people don't think about starting their own business to make rockets to sell to the US government for billions of dollars. So he had to, at some point, like, he started with these smaller steps. He started with Zip2 and his dad's investment of $28,000. He took that and now he's grown that exponentially to where he can now do business with the US government in the billions of dollars in contracts. So that's why I really wanted to do this video on Elon Musk, because big thinking, a lot of people forget how to dream, or they lose how to dream because maybe the world around them may not seem like there's as much possibility. Maybe you have a lot of adversity, or maybe you have a lot of things going on in life, a lot of struggles, a lot of trials, a lot of obstacles, and you don't see how you can swim past that. But I want to show you someone who was able to swim past adversity and who was able to keep that big thinking and was able to actually succeed with it. And I'm hoping that this really inspires you to continue to think big. Think big. You can. You can do things beyond what you can imagine if you just take a baby step at a time and follow the action. Do what he did. He followed the action. He merged with like minds. He didn't let his childhood get him down. He continued to ponder and explore what his actual meaning was, and he applied the inventory of his skills, of his talents, and his interests into his business in a way to improve humanity. So let's keep going and talk about Tesla Motors. This is another company that Elon started. So second nature to Elon, he brought innovation and big thinking into Tesla, a startup company that was incorporated in 2003 by Martin Eberhard and Mark Tarpenning. The two Tesla startup entrepreneurs funded the company's development until the Series A round of funding in 2004. At that time, Elon Musk came in as a leading investor, investing $7.5 million into the nascent car company. Musk went all in on the company, bringing cash, his reputation, and leading the development of the Tesla Roadster. In 2008, Musk became the CEO of Tesla Motors, leading the organization's first car to sell 2,500 vehicles. Since, Tesla continues to work on the advancement of the electric car and has opened the use of their technology patents to automobile manufacturers. While continuing to work on space exploration and Tesla, Elon has also taken on other projects, including Solar City. He's improving the use of solar energies and increasing the number of vehicle charging stations. Solar City has become the second largest provider of solar power in the U.S., and Musk is the largest shareholder. Tesla became the formal owner of Solar City in 2014. And Hyperloop. Elon Musk has set out to solve the problem of traffic congestion with the invention of underground tunnels that skate vehicles miles in seconds. Hyperloop has begun digging the tunnels and plans to complete a 5-mile Hyperloop tunnel in Los Angeles as a part of a pilot program. And he's working on Neuralink. In addition to all of his other innovation, Musk is also a part of the advancement of artificial intelligence technology through his company Neuralink. Through Neuralink, they are discovering how to integrate artificial intelligence with the human brain. So, Elon Musk is doing a lot of game-changing things, and I just really wanted you to see how big your potential is. I mean, he isn't even the ceiling on what you can do. He's just showing us what the potential is when we can think big. So I just want you to take some time and dream and just really think up the biggest possible thing you could think. Think about, do an inventory of your ideas, do an inventory of your experience, your knowledge, your resources, your connections, the people you know, and just think about the potential you truly do have. It's not all about how much money you have, and it's not all about how much time you have. Those are two factors, but there's so many other resources that you actually have access to, and you may not be really tapping into the value that you have and using those to the maximum potential that you can. So just think about, what ideas do you have? What can you do with the resources you currently have? What connections do you have? Who do you know? And how can you be useful to them? How can they be useful to you? Think about all of that. Think about the skills that you have. What have you been mastering? What have you honed in on? Do you have high-paying skills? Do you have the time to create those high-paying skills? And just think about how you can have a turnaround just by thinking big like he did. So as far as his net worth, mind you, he went from what seems like a middle-class family, and despite his humble beginnings, experts say Elon Musk has been able to build his asset portfolio to a net worth of $23.6 billion. So why Elon Musk quotes? When you listen to Elon Musk speak, he has a way of nonchalantly being a thinker. So if you haven't before, definitely take some time and listen to one of his speeches. You'll see that he's really not like energetic or something like that. But even with that, he can nonchalantly talk these big, think big. And it's just so interesting to hear his train of thought. He doesn't just ponder a problem like traffic. Most people run into traffic and you think it's just a problem that is part of life. He doesn't just ponder issues like that. He quantifies how substantial the problem is for the world, and he is unafraid of thinking big enough to potentially solve the problem for everyone. And again, he doesn't try to think about how to do it by himself. He knows how to rally people together to do it together. He knows how to raise capital. He knows how to get people to buy in. And all of these are valuable skills that if you really want to run a business and grow it from idea to enterprise, you have to learn how to join hands with people, how to rally people together, how to get people to buy into your idea, how to get them to magnetize to what you're trying to do. And Elon was able to do that. And he's done that in several industries with several verticals. And so he doesn't just think about traffic and these problems we all think are normal. He actually quantifies how substantial the problem is. He'll say, well, as a result of traffic, this many hours are wasted across the world, and he quantifies how big the problem is. And then he's bold enough to think about how to solve that problem, how to rally people together and to get rid of that. So most people think about smaller problems and run into walls several times when attempting that. So it's helpful to analyze some foundational quotes that serve as the philosophical root to his ability to think so big. So let's dive into some of these quotes that Elon Musk has said that can help us possibly understand why he thinks the way he does and how we can acquire the ability to think big like he does. So these are some of his quotes on space. He says, we're establishing cargo flights to Mars that people can count on. So mind you, countries have been trying to establish flights to Mars and haven't succeeded at that. But he as an individual feels the potential to send people to Mars and to create cargo flights to Mars that are reliable. So he can say that with confidence. The Earth-Mars orbital rendezvous is only every 26 months. So there will be one in 2018. There will be another in 2020. And I think if things go according to plan, we should be able to launch probably in 2024 with arrival in 2025. So this is another thing. A lot of us want instant gratification. We want something to happen today, tomorrow. But even as a billionaire, he is thinking about things that are happening years down the line. And we need to be able to think like that too. Not everything is going to happen today or tomorrow, but we should be armed and prepared for things that are happening even further down the line, preparing ourselves today with skills, with maxing out our potential, with putting forth our best effort, and preparing ourselves to for what can come in 2024, 2025, 2020. He said, I never had a job where I made anything physical. I co-founded 2 internet software companies, Zip2 and PayPal, so it took me a few years to kind of learn rocket science, if you will. So that one just shows you that it's not that you can have a career change. You don't necessarily have to do what you've always done and be successful at it. He's taken what he knows from his 2 internet companies and taken the wisdom from that and the experience from that into completely different verticals. And not all people are successful at that. It will be learning curves and it will take time. But you don't have to put a cap on yourself because you specialized in one thing. He went from banking and Zip2 helping newspaper companies to get online into rocket science. Completely different verticals. So you can do it too. He said, I had to learn how to make hardware. I'd never seen a CNC machine or laid out carbon fiber. fiber. I didn't know any of these things, but if you read books and talk to experts, you'll pick it up pretty quickly. It's really pretty straightforward. Just read books and talk to people, particularly books. The data rate of reading is much greater than when somebody's talking. You can learn whatever you need to do to start a successful business either in school or out of school. A school, in theory, should help accelerate that process, and I think oftentimes it does. It can be an efficient learning process, perhaps more efficient than empirically learning lessons. There are examples of successful entrepreneurs who never graduated high school, and there are those that have PhDs. I think the important principle is to be dedicated to learning what you need to know, whether that is in school or empirically. So he's saying that there's no limits. He didn't know how to make a car. He didn't know how to make hardware. He didn't know how to make a rocket ship. He took the time out to learn. And he says you should read books. So if books could get him to earning in the billions of dollars, then I think books can help you to get you from where you are to where you want to be. So start reading, start being dedicated to learning, start exercising that brain muscle and building on your knowledge level and your applied knowledge. Because he didn't just take and read the book, but he took that and he applied that. He started making cars. He started the banking institution. And as a result, he's really shaken up the world. I mean, most people use PayPal. So for his quotes on Tesla and the future of cars, he says, when Henry Ford made cheap, reliable cars, people said, nah, what's wrong with a horse? That was a huge bet he made, and it worked. So if you are starting something, you're starting a business and people are doubting you, just remember that Ford made cars. I mean, and most of us rely on cars at this point, but people still doubted him. People said, why, the horse is all right. What's wrong with the horse? Why do we need the car? So if you're starting something and you're getting opposition, don't stop there. It happened to Ford too. And so the fundamental problem with cities is that we build cities in 3D. You've got these tall buildings with lots of people on each floor, but then you've got roads which are 2D. That absolutely just doesn't work. You're guaranteed to have gridlock, but you can go 3D if you have tunnels, and you can have many tunnels crisscrossing each other with maybe a few meters of vertical distance between them and completely get rid of traffic problems. So again, while this may sound very funny to you because most people in the world deal with traffic, he actually is pondering the solution for a problem that most people would just overlook and say it's a part of life. And sometimes that's what you have to do. As an entrepreneur, you're a professional solution provider. And sometimes you'll be pondering issues and people will even laugh that you're pondering this issue that, I mean, it's absolutely normal. Just get a life. Don't take your eyes off of your dream. Don't take your eyes off of it. It's possible. The reality is that autonomous systems will drive orders of magnitude better than people. In terms of accidents per mile, it'll be far lower. Technologically, I think it's about 3 years away for full autonomy. Owning a car that is not self-driving in the long term will be like owning a horse. You will own it and use it for sentimental reasons, but not for daily use. So he is, again, thinking of the future of cars and thinking of how things are going to evolve and change. And he could be absolutely on the money about it. He strongly believes it. And so when you have something that you strongly believe in, just be bullheaded about it. You know, believe in what you believe. Don't compromise on everything. Some things it's necessary to compromise on, of course, and some things you have to mature and grow, and you'll learn that maybe you aren't in the right. But there's some things that when you believe and you're going to offer a solution, then be bullheaded about it and go for it. Okay, so as far as his quotes on business and success, these are the ones I'm really excited to share with you because there's so much opposition to these basic core principles, and I really want us to be able to maximize our potential and learn from the biggest and greatest minds so we can think big and not be stuck in these clams and trends that are going on in the current day. So what he says is work like hell. I mean, you just have to put in 80 to 100-hour weeks every week. This improves the odds of success. If other people are putting in 40-hour work weeks and you're putting in 100-hour work weeks, then even if you're doing the same thing, you know that you will achieve in 4 months what it will take them a year to achieve. If there was a way that I could not eat so I could work more, I would not eat. I wish there was a way to get nutrients without sitting down for a meal. So you can see Elon Musk is a hard worker. He has an extreme work ethic. He's saying 80 to 100-hour work weeks. He's saying that if he believes in outworking his competition. So I believe in that as well. I've heard Damon John and many other successful entrepreneurs who have hit the billions of dollars in sales, and they all say this. But then there's this modern group of people who say the 4-hour work week and they want to work less so they can achieve more. But I'm on the side of Elon Musk and the people who are really successful. You'll hear Bill Gates, you'll hear Warren Buffett, you'll hear the people on the top on the Forbes list. This is their philosophy. Work like hell. I mean, you just have to put in 80 to 100-hour work weeks. It improves your odds of success. So, just find what you're passionate about. Not so much trying to find a shortcut to how to work less, but find what you're passionate about and what you don't mind dying doing, and just devote your life to solving that problem for people. And don't try to get out of good old-fashioned hard work. So he says it shouldn't be that you've got these grades where people move in lockstep and everyone goes through English, math, science, and so forth from 5th grade to 6th grade to 7th grade like it's an assembly line. People are not objects on an assembly line. That's a ridiculous notion. People learn and are interested in different things at different paces. You really want to disconnect the whole grade level thing from subjects. Allow people to progress at the fastest pace that they can or are interested in each subject. It seems like a really obvious thing. And so I've noticed this because I homeschooled my son for a few years. And during that time, I noticed his natural inclinations, like Elon had natural inclinations towards computers and technology. And when you allow people to go into their natural inclinations, a lot of times it'll bring the other subjects along. For my son, when I was homeschooling him, he had natural inclinations towards science-related things, and as a result, he wanted to read more about science-related things. So what did that affect? That affected his reading, and it also affected his math, and it affected his other subjects. But when he was in school, they weren't allowing that process to take place where he was able to explore his inclinations, and as a result, it kind of got boring for him. So I would say that he's right on the money when he says that you should focus on the things that you are interested in each subject, and allow that to really grow you in other areas. He says it's better to approach this building a company from the standpoint of saying, rather than you want to be an entrepreneur or you want to make money, what are some useful things that you do that you wish existed in the world? So he's saying instead of desiring to be an entrepreneur, to think about the useful things that you do and what you can bring to the world. And that one's a good one. So always solicit critical feedback, particularly from friends, because generally they will be thinking it, but they won't tell you. So, it's always nice to think that the things we create are beautiful and excellent, and helpful, but it's also good when we actually ask for people to tell us what can we do to improve, because that's where your growth will be. So even if you do have something that's good, what can you do to make it great? And particularly from people who care about you, because they won't be trying to crush your spirit. They'll be trying to tell you this critical feedback because they know in the long run it'll help you. So you want to be careful not to open your ears and your attention to people who are just trying to crush your spirit. Some people will just give you negative feedback. They'll just be trolls. And so you don't want to open your ears to those people. You want to open your ears to the people who are truly trying to improve you. Okay, so he says, I don't think everything needs to change the world, Just say, is what I'm doing as useful as it could be? Whatever this thing is that you're trying to create, what would be the utility delta compared to the current state of the art times? How many people it would affect? That's why I think having something that makes a big difference but affects a small to moderate number of people is great, as is something that makes even a small difference but affects a vast number of people. So he's saying in business, he's thinking about solving problems. So he's thinking about the utility, how useful is this solution to people, regardless of if it's a small number of people or a large number of people. And oftentimes you'll find entrepreneurs who are in it for different reasons. They're in it because they're trying to escape the boss, or they're in it because they're trying to make money, make lots of money. They're trying to get rich. They want to buy a car. But really, all of those things are a byproduct of this core principle that he's saying here. The car, the material possessions, everything that you want is a byproduct of focusing on how your solution can be utilized by the world. How can it be helpful? How can you be more helpful? And it's coming down from Elon Musk. And he was able to go from almost near rags to riches, So I would say his quotes do mean something. So he says, I think the profit motive is a good one if the rules of an industry are properly set up. There is nothing fundamentally wrong with profit. In fact, profit just means that people are paying you more for whatever you're doing than what you're spending to create it. That's a good thing. So if you have been around different philosophies, there are different philosophies out there where it's almost like you have to give away everything that you have. You shouldn't have profit. Give everything to the needy and don't get rich. All of those philosophies are what I believe he's telling you is not a problem in this quote. You can have profit. Profit is a good thing. But it's the motive behind getting the profit that is the thing you have to examine. Then he says, there's no map. By its nature, it's unknown, which means you're going to make false moves. It must be okay to make false moves. So I talked in a previous video about the fear of failure and how when you fail, you're just one step closer to succeeding. So I have more steps, of course, in that video because it was longer than what I'll disclose here. But he says there's no map. By nature, it's unknown. So there's constant risk that you'll be taking on. But it's okay to make false moves. Be okay with that. When you're moving forward, know that this is a hypothesis. This is an experiment. This is something that I'm trying. And be okay with the fact that it can be successful or it can fail. And if it fails, guess what? You just learned a lesson and you move on. So he says, I certainly have lost many battles. So far, I have not lost a war, but I've certainly lost many battles, more than I can count. Probably. I came very close to both companies not succeeding in 2008. We had 3 failures of the SpaceX rocket, so we were 0 for 3. We had the crazy financial recession, the Great Recession. The Tesla financing round was falling apart because it's pretty hard to raise money for a startup car company if GM and Chrysler are going bankrupt. Fortunately, at the end of 2008, the fourth launch, which was the last launch we had money for, worked for SpaceX. And we loved the Tesla financing round Christmas Christmas Eve 2008, the last hour of the last day that it was possible. So he took a huge risk that I'm sure may have given him gray hairs, may have made him sweat, may have made him cry. Because if you think about it, he was trying to raise money when GM and Chrysler were going bankrupt, and he was a fairly new company. He also had the issue of, it was a very popular thing that he was a private company that was making a rocket ship. And I'm sure he had a lot of people tell him he was absolutely crazy for trying it. But guess what? He tried it anyway. And even when he tried it, he failed. He failed 3 times, 0 for 3. So he launched the rocket. And how embarrassing would that be to have something so public fail 3 times? But guess what? He didn't give up. He kept going. And he only had money to try it one more time. And in that one more time, it worked. So, there's other quotes out there like try again. If at first you don't succeed, try again. But this is just another example of how you just keep at it. It won't always succeed the first time. Maybe you're starting a business now. Maybe it's not going like you planned. But keep at it. Keep learning. Keep tweaking. Keep adjusting. Keep pivoting. And make it work. Don't give up. And then he says, fundamentally, if you don't have a compelling product at a compelling price, you don't have a great company. That may sound like common sense, but if you don't have a compelling product at a great price, you don't have a great company. Then he says, we don't think too much about what competitors are doing because I think it's important to be focused on making the best possible product. It's maybe analogous to, and I may be saying that word wrong, to what they say about if you're in a race, don't worry about what the other runners are doing, just run. So just run. He's saying don't look to the right and to the left, just focus on creating the best thing you can. He says you're not going to create revolutionary cars or rockets on 40 hours a week. It just won't work. Colonizing Mars isn't going to happen on 40 hours a week. So take the glass ceiling off of the effort that you're willing to put into your life purpose. If you really feel responsible to help people solve a problem in your community, in your family, wherever the problem is that you plan to make your business solve, he's saying don't put a cap on how much time you'll be willing to devote to solving that problem. Now, with a job, typically you have the cap of 40 hours and then you're into overtime. But when you're in a business, it's all about putting in your best effort to solving the problem for the most people you can. And there's really no time behind that. Okay, the path to the CEO's office should not be through the CFO's office, and it should not be through the marketing department. It needs to be through engineering and design. So he feels like you shouldn't be going based off of the budget. You shouldn't be going based off of the marketing reach. You should be going off of the product, the design, the quality, and the solution that it can offer. That's how you should get to the CEO's office. Now, of course, we can agree or disagree about that one, but that's Elon Musk's opinion. He says, I don't create companies for the sake of creating companies, but to get things done. Okay, the biggest mistake in general that I've made, and I'm trying to correct for that, is to put too much of a weighting on somebody's talent and not enough on their personality. It actually matters whether somebody has a good heart. It really does. And I've made the mistake of thinking that sometimes it's just about the brain. So character over knowledge. I can completely agree with that. Things like integrity, honesty, the servant heart, things like that are more important than focusing on whether they can do their math, whether they can solve a math problem, whether they can solve a science problem. You know, you want to know that you're building your business on solid character. And each person that you hire, that you connect with, each vendor that you correlate with, each business that you decide to partner with, he's saying that personality is definitely more important, or character. Then he says, I want to accentuate the philosophy that I have with companies in the startup phase, which is a sort of special forces approach. The minimum passing grade is excellent. That's the way I believe startup companies need to be if they're ultimately going to be large and successful companies. We'd adhere to that to some degree, but we strayed from that path in a few places. That doesn't mean the people that we let go on that basis would be considered bad. It's just the difference between special forces and regular army. If you're going to get through a really tough environment and ultimately grow the company to something significant, you have to have a very high level of dedication and talent throughout the organization. So that goes back to setting our boundaries and setting our standards. Just because other companies around you are allowing certain behaviors, if you really want to grow and surpass them, and you want to grow from idea to enterprise, then you have to be willing to have a higher standard than what smaller companies or mom and pop shops have for themselves and for their talent. You might be expecting a higher work ethic, a higher level of timeliness, a higher level of integrity and honesty, a higher level of attention to detail. But all of these things are what's going to separate your enterprise from the next business to you, because he said it's all about the special forces in comparison to the regular army. The special forces has to do more discipline, more working out, more, in combat than the regular army does. And so if that's your goal, you can't try to have the same standard as everyone else. The standard has to go up. Okay, so I also compiled a playlist with Elon Musk documentaries and interesting Elon Musk interviews. And definitely, like I said, I'll leave the link in the description box below where you'll be able to check out this post, and you'll be able to see the playlist and the other videos and links and things that I've included in this post. It's all meant to help you so that you can think bigger, because like I said, my mission is to help you go from idea to enterprise. And so Elon Musk is just one of those people I think you should study if you want to challenge yourself to think bigger, to dream bigger. So in addition to the videos and the playlist, there's also some books that I think you should check out. And like I said, all of this will be in the article, but this book is Elon Musk, Tesla, SpaceX, and the Quest for a Fantastic Future. So it's a more detailed biography of Elon Musk, so you can get to know what he's all about. Then you have the Bloomberg documentary, Elon Musk Risk Takers, and that's a very interesting documentary for you to check out and for you to see the type of risks and the type of calculation that Elon did throughout his career as an entrepreneur. So my final words, the goal of this video was to show the example of a big thinker, a risk taker named Elon Musk, in hopes that it can inspire you to think big and to create massive solutions in your business. There are very few people who conceptualize solutions like Elon Musk. Therefore, if you want to expand your horizons and grow your big thinking skills, you should definitely pursue the recommendations for further reading and study. If you have questions or concerns about this, don't hesitate to leave them in the comment section below. Also, if you're looking to start or grow a business, stop by howtoentrepreneur.org and check out my free e-course. It's basically a roadmap to help you to grow a business from idea to enterprise. And I also have a special offer when you sign up, so you'll be able to personally work with me, and I can help you roll up our sleeves and start building in your business. So now it's your turn. What's your favorite takeaway from these Elon Musk quotes and biography? What do you do to scale your thinking so you can conceptualize large solutions? Now, if you're here, it's likely you're looking to build a business from idea to enterprise. So what do you do to expand that thinking so you can make sure that you can conceptualize the task and the actions and the dreams and the vision in order to grow that enterprise? So leave your comments in the comment section below. And that's all I have for this video. I'm really hoping it was helpful for you. I hope that it inspired you to think bigger and bigger. And I hope that it really helped to boost your confidence and your motivation that you really can do it. And I know that Elon experienced the fear of failure. He experienced, the fear of rejection. He experienced so many things throughout his journey. He even had personal doubt and, dealing with abuse and all kinds of things growing up. So a lot of the things he's dealt with, you may be dealing with, I may be dealing with, and it's just inspiring to see someone who's overcome it. So again, leave your comments in the comment section below, and that's all I have for this video. I hope to see you in the next one. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, and if you'd like to see more videos like it where I do product and service reviews to help you choose products and services to grow your business, where I do buyer's guides to help you choose between this and that to grow your business, and also where I do growth strategies or biographies like this one to help inspire you to grow your business from idea to enterprise. So if you're interested in that, subscribe to this channel and click the bell icon. I'll be continually updating this channel, and also stop by How to Entrepreneur and check out the free course. So that's all I have for you today. Have a great day. Bye.